Another thing that's it's pretty interesting actually. There's some issues I guess in Atlanta with Trae Young, John Collins, Lloyd Pierce, right? And it's the whole issue of is Trae Young becoming more of a diva kind of player now because of his All Star nomination last year. I mean, he was basically putting up 30 and 10, right? I mean, he was putting up some big numbers, and there's basically a film session where they highlighted Trae Young, right? And John Collins has been complaining about his touches in the offense, right? I mean, his usage, touches, and whatnot. I mean, a lot of it is basically him, getting freestyle plays, his putbacks and whatnot. Not really much offense is being ran, like pick and roll and all that stuff with John Collins. And the reason that is because it's Trae Young. Trae Young is basically the one holding the ball, you know, as long as possible and making the plays. He's playing that James Harden kind of play style where he's passing to people and it's like he's killing the clock, passing to people and they gotta shoot, right? Basically that's what I mean. He's putting some gaudy numbers again, but afterwards, with the whole John Collins issue, next game he plays like crap, like super passive and just didn't have his mind in the game, right? So now you gotta think to yourself, like, did this guy really have a bad game? Or did this guy do it on purpose, right? There's a whole bunch of issues right now in Atlanta. And you're thinking, like, dude, is this guy really, blowing up the ego, the hubris is getting a little inflated, right? I mean, this guy probably thinks he's, that James Harden, Steph Curry level and stuff like that when he's just pulling up from 30, 40, all that stuff, right? Like, when they say about Dame Lillard, Steph Curry and all that stuff. Like, is this guy, like, really think he's on that level, right? Because, Trae Young's the one who's basically telling the front office that, hey, I want to win now. Which is actually, a interesting thing kind of to think about, right? Like, why is this guy saying it now? Like, are you telling me the Atlanta Hawks have given this guy so much power to the keys of the franchise, right? Like, he was a second year coming into a third year in the off season. Like, he said he wanted to win now, right? Instead of just letting the rebuild slowly, come in, because he has plenty of time. I mean, he just made the All Star, great achievement, putting up great stats, but his team was so bad, right? So, you know, get as much picks as possible, and then we'll see if we can go from there, right? In the building, I mean, you see, Cam Reddish, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter. Now they got their new guy Okongwu, right? Just accumulate as much picks as possible, but the demand of Trae Young. And now you're thinking to yourself like, damn, like are the Atlanta Hawks really listening to their franchise guy that much? Because Trae Young hasn't done much in the NBA. I mean, no disrespect, like 30 and 10, like basically he was averaging 30 and 10 the second year. I mean, that's great until stats went down and stuff like that later on in the season. But that's great. They had a mulligan. John Collins was out basically because of his HGH stuff and like, oh, he got popped and whatever, right? So he missed a bunch of games. You can't got a mulligan. So Trae Young did whatever he wanted that season because there was no John Collins who can give you basically 20 and 10. Now you have John Collins. He had a great start. Basically, he went like 4-1, right? And now they just lost like a bunch of games in a row. Probably ever since, John Collins brought up that issue. Like, hey, like, what's going on here? Right? Like, I want to get some touches too in the offense. Like, I want to, play, I guess, like, maybe a more team centric kind of offense. Because, John Collins wants to get paid, right? Because it's his contract year. So I'm not even sure what's up with Atlanta. Like, are they just like, gonna trade John Collins, or are they gonna give him his max? Because I'm plenty of teams in the NBA are gonna give this guy a max. Right? I mean, this dude gives you basically 20 a 10. He's expanded his offensive game. This dude shoots threes now. Like he's okay defender. I'll give him okay, right? He's not really a good rim protector. I mean, you just primarily want him on the power forward spot, right? So either you're gonna trade John Collins or you give him his money. I'm not sure why they didn't give him his money earlier, like when he was asking. I think they offered him like 90 million and he turned it down. But which begs you the question now, like, hey, like why'd you trade for Capella then? Unless you basically want Trae Young to do that kind of James Harden offensive style where he basically controls everything. Just surround this dude with 3-and-D guys, stand in the corner, let Trae Young basically dribble break down you, because he has great handles, right? So he'll dribble, break down, blow past you, or do some like step backs and whatnot, and we'll see how far this guy can take you. But you can really tell, you can really see the results of that kind of play style, right? It'll never win you a championship. So I mean, what's the issue there? Are you playing for stats, or are you playing to win, right? So we'll see what happens when it comes to Atlanta, but it's getting pretty interesting, right? I mean, why not Atlanta? Why don't they just trade John Collins then? You're not gonna pay him, so, and just let Trae Young do whatever he wants to see where he goes from there, right? If you're so keen in on giving this dude the keys, right? So all in all, Trae Young, John Collins, dude, Atlanta. It's still so early in the rebuild, so there shouldn't really be a rush, but I guess, you know, I guess he does. I guess maybe he does want the stats. Hey, yo. Hey, yo.